Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob for Smirking Gun Reviews, and after a little bit of a break because of Orange is the New Black's new season, we're finally back to The Man in the High Castle. Season 1, Episode 8, The End of the World. So this has got some really good stuff in it. It's kind of a building episode to how they're going to slide into the finale. So spoilers if you haven't seen the episode. One thing I want to point out is, does everybody have to bang on Frank's door like it's the end of the world, literally, for the, not, no pun intended, for the title of the show, but Ed, every time Ed comes over, it's boom, 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 boom. Hey, man. Telling me that yeah, you got some important thing to tell me, but unless, like, they're coming right through the door right now, you can still knock like a normal person. You're drawing attention to yourself out there. Even, see, at least when Robert, the antiques dealer, comes and bangs on the door, he's got a cop outside, all right? And maybe he should be a little more subtle too, because you don't want the cop looking. Everybody just boom, boom, boom. Frank! So, anyway, I just find that funny. Like, it's just like every single time. So we have some pretty interesting performances. Mostly the most notable, again, from Rufus Sewell. In this, though, what's her name? Oh my God, it's been like Orange is the New Black's reviews fried my brain so that now I can't even like think. Juliana, there she is. There's the memory. Boom, finally coming back to me. Juliana tells her mother and her like stepfather guy that works at the Japanese like surveillance place that Trudy's dead, but the mother doesn't want to have anything to do with it. She can't hear it. She's just bleh. And she's still here. Now that's important what she's saying, that she's still here. I still feel her. That is important because it goes into what we'll be seeing in the season 2. Because for anybody that hasn't seen the show, one of the biggest mysteries really is, how are they getting these films? They're clearly not from here, and they're not, made by somebody from here, like somehow really cleverly filmed. Okay, so we're getting into like spoilers. Okay, just a tiny one for going on, but we're talking about alternate realities here. If you haven't yet figured that out, so that's an important part where she says that like I can still feel my daughter here. Yeah, because on the outside, she just seems like she's being like, a grieving mother. And that's fine. It is a little hard for Juliana to, I don't know why she didn't just say, I saw the body. Okay, let's just put this to bed. I saw the body, and that's it. Maybe she doesn't want to worry her mother anymore, but if you want her to stop, you have to tell the truth, which is, I saw the body. But whatever. These they don't want her to say it. I don't know why the writers don't want her to say it. But the main thing, like, okay, so we've got Frank and Robert. It's so weird. Whenever I say my own name as a character's name, I feel like weird. Is that weird to anybody else when you say somebody else's name that's yours? Uh, so Robert the antique dealer, and Frank decide to scam the Japanese businessman that made Robert feel bad, but has a lot of money. So they have this, they design this thing, and I love how the antique dealer is great because he's just like, oh, I don't know, man. I was pissed off when I said we'd sell this, we'd make this forgery, we could get into a lot of trouble. And Frank's just like, look, man, we're fucking doing this. I'm gonna turn you in, see if I care if I get caught. And I just love how he just like, okay, fine, give me a second to like kind of like center himself, get to a moment of zen, and just was like, okay, my greed's taken back over, let's go. Like, I love that guy is great. And so he goes to sell this thing, and again, he is insulted at the front door because these people don't want him being seen coming in through the door because he's less than. So this just motivates him even more. making him go through the side entrance, having a guard, like a guard come and like intimidate him. So he gets in there and he's trying to convince this guy that this is the real Sitting Bull's necklace, and it's a forgery, and it's not a very convincing. I mean, there's they have a good point. Americans like to take advantage and get one over on the Japs. Sorry to use that term. That's what they say, and he's not going for it. And to be fair, the coming argument isn't very convincing to me. I wouldn't be fooled by or swayed into buying this thing because of their argument. But the wife gets this look on her face, and I love it because you can tell that she's just she's annoyed by her husband. She doesn't really, there's something about him or whatever. She wants to help this guy, the antique dealer. Maybe it's because his attitude about other people. Maybe she's a little more like, open to other cultures. I don't know. Either way, she kind of wants to fool her husband. She wants to get one over on him too. So she says one of the weirdest things, like, this, she's like, I'm not trying. And she just does that, like very quiet, speaking Japanese. And she says, this object has woo. That is one of the dumbest things. Like, okay, I'm sure woo is a thing. But if I had something and said, hey, take this, and they told me that this thing had woo, I'd laugh in their face. I would just laugh in their face, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, are you stroking out on me or what? But no, at least this convinces the husband that the thing's real and he makes a buttload of money from it. The whole, see, look into his eyes, see all the pain there? That to me is just like really forced and cheesy, but hey, it worked. It worked. So whatever, what can I say? So they get the money, and now he's made a score, and instantly the antique dealer's like, we could make a lot of money off of these people. But Frank is just doing this so that him and Juliana can get the hell out of Dodge. Now we got the whole thing with the resistance in the film. Okay, so they have this weird moment at the beginning of the episode where the guy's fishing and talking to the little kid who's got some physical problems. Let's say that. And he's telling him, about hiding who like, don't ever tell them who you are. And it's such a weird beginning speech to this kid who's not talking that it leads me to believe that something has to come of this. Otherwise, what the hell was that? So that seems to be like a foreshadowing conversation, but I don't know. It's just really weird and random. Maybe too random. That's what I'm saying. So they find out that there's this film in San Francisco. They go there, him and the other lady, Lem, and this lady, I can't remember her name. They go to get the film. The guy that they are supposed to get it from is dead, sitting there with an empty briefcase. They find out that the Yakuza has it, and they're trying to get money for it. But what you also don't know, what the Resistance doesn't know, is the Yakuza are trying to sell it to the Kempeitai police too. So you got everybody looking for it. Like, this is a big, trap. We can see it coming, but they can't. And so the Resistance ends up, without any money, having to get Juliana to contact Joe to get 100,000 yen because he's got connections. Okay, if he's clearly not part of the Resistance and he can get you $100,000, pretty much no questions asked, wouldn't you think, I don't know, spy? I wouldn't trust this guy who could suddenly get me $100,000 for a film that everybody wants when you don't know anything about him. It's just weird. Like, do they not expect us to think that, do they make us think that these guys are that stupid? Because I don't think they are. they've survived this long in this world without getting caught yet. They would not have reservations. Maybe they do, and it's just not said. But I mean, they do have those looks on their faces, like, what choice do we have? But I don't know. So Joe says he can set it up. Now this is where we get to where I'm going to talk about Obergruppenführer's. Hey, I'm getting better at saying that. Smith's problem this week and going forward is that he finds out from the doctor, who, I swear, this guy is great. I mean, he must have this practiced, trying to giving this kind of bad news to a Nazi. Would probably, like, if I was him, I'd have like plastic on the floor, because every time you say something like this to one of these guys, you run the risk of just having your brains blown out, because they don't take bad news well. And so telling Obergruppenführer Smith that his son basically has to be put down because of a genetic like defect that runs in the family. Something that kind of seems weird, that they wouldn't have, like, why they would allow Obergruppenführer Smith to procreate if he had this genetic disposition in his family, which his brother had something. But I don't know. So he's, and the fact that he's a Nazi, they try to humanize him by showing that he actually cares about his son. Because we see Nazis and we go, they're evil. And they are. But they're also people. And despite their crazy belief systems, they actually do have feelings like normal people when it comes to their family. And as hard as it is to sympathize with a person like Obergruppenführer Smith, you kind of have to. I'm more interested in the ha. It's more like a ha. Like, I have less sympathy and more of the irony of, you're part of a system that you believe in so much, and you would gladly kill anybody else's person, any person for breaking the rules. But now you're faced with having to put down your own son because of something that he can't do anything about. And now he's going to have that moral dilemma of, do I put down my own child for the sake of what I believe in, or do I find another way? And that's great, because Rufus Sewell plays this so well, and without saying anything to anyone else, not to his wife when they're looking at pictures of his brother, not to anyone. You'd think that he would be, confide in her, but he doesn't. And it's just that toll, or after he meets with that other officer who wants Wegner, and he goes down there to talk to him, like, what did you do? What's your plan? What was this all about? He's trying to, get some kind of like control back, because now his life is out of control. So he's trying to get some answers where he can, because and maybe take his mind off it for a second, but he can't do it. This guy's not telling him shit. And so now we have, like, the son comes home, he's like, I ran a 2K, like, Jesus. I'd be more like, kid. I mean, he's trying not to blow it out of proportion, but he's in denial a little bit, And it's so weird that kid's like, hey, may I go clean up? Sure. Like, what's stopping you? In some ways, I could see why people would be like, wow, the kids are really well behaved in the Nazi Reich. But I don't really think they have much of a choice. So it shouldn't be one of those, see, that works. You want to get your kids to behave? Join the Nazi Party. So anyway, during this whole thing, it's really cool to see, and it's going to be the future part of this, is with Obergruppenführer Smith's storyline, is how he handles this situation with his son. And then we have finally the whole deal with the film. Juliana convinces Frank to go to her parents' house for one last dinner, so she can't say goodbye. And that's another thing that bugs me. They have these scenes where they have to do those last goodbyes that could possibly screw up their plans, but they do it anyway out of any sort of good sense. So, but they do, there is kind of a purpose eventually, is that her stepdad, what's his name, Oliver, um, tells her that they know about the plan. Whatever you're mixed up in, don't be a part of it because they're going to stop it. It's a trap. But of course, she goes to go save Joe, and the resistance people are like, "What the fuck?" So, he goes in there, he does what he's supposed to do. They're playing at the end, it's the end of the world. Which, look, I love a good song creating atmosphere and tension and things like that. But it just, I don't know. There's something about that song and the situation that doesn't really fit. Yes, we're in a world, we're like in a weird world, but I don't know. Whatever. I think there could have been way better songs than that. But I digress. I'm moving on. So the cops all roll up. The Kempeitai haven't moved in, really. They're starting to now. The resistance people are like, we got to bounce. We got to get the hell out of here. Juliana's on her own. The film is gone. They're screwed. But what I find interesting and is that when they get out and they're taken by gunpoint, right before this we had the Tagomi talking to his assistant about how Juliana never came back from lunch. She had just given him those flowers, and he has this look on his face, like when he looks at the flowers, like this is a goodbye. This is something. And so when they get stopped by the car and at gunpoint put in the car, you would think that's a Kempeitai, except when Inspector Kido comes out, he's running after them. Okay, so he clearly is not a part of who took them. Now you could say it's the Yakuza. Maybe it is, but I kind of doubt it. Because see, even though I've seen this like season once before, it was like 2.5 years ago or something like that, so I don't remember all the details. But if my money right now, before seeing the next episode, will be that it's Tagomi that figured this out and sent his own men to pick her up before the police could. So, I mean, it could still be the Yakuza, but I don't know. Anyway, that's the end of the episode. I can't wait to do episode 9 and 10 coming up later in the next couple of days. So thanks for anybody who watches this. Speaking of which, if you do like this video, please hit the like button, comment, subscribe. We're at 184. Made a little bit of a jump there, but then we're just the new black. Hit the bell if you want any notifications on any of my videos. I'm about to do a Thanos video in inspiration of Avengers Infinity War coming out on digital today. So, yeah, that's about it. So, this is Robert Smirking Gun Review saying thanks for all the support. Thanks for watching these videos, those of you who do. And yes, Season 3 did get that confirmation date, so it's coming up soon. So, I need to finish up first and second season so that we can be ready for the third. Anyway, again, have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.